Rick the critic when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic when she all up in your city. Oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it. Cause she's Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick.
Hi, it's me, Rick the Critic, and welcome. Thank you for allowing me to come into your home and talk to you about matters that are important to you and matters that are important to me. Today we're going to talk about MedicAlert. Um, when I say MedicAlert, I mean, um, actually, I was talking to a lady the other day, and we were both looking at a commercial because we were out. And on the commercial, it said to use this product, and it said that it may cause, you know how they run through it real quickly, death, and da 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 da. And in this whole list of things, it said, and it may cause cancer. And I thought, wow. And it was a product that you put on your face to make you beautiful or take blotches or what have you, take it out of your face. And it was going to make you this beautiful person. But in the line of all of those things that they were talking about, it said that it could cause cancer. I know you've heard these advertisements before where they say, you know, it could cause stroke, it could cause dizziness, it could cause, you know, and it goes through all this line of stuff. And it's like, my goodness. That's an awful lot of stuff. Do I really want to take the chance? I was looking at my daughter's medicine just today, and on it it said it was some kind of medicine for nerves, and on it it said it may cause dizziness, drowsiness, it may cause feelings of depression. It may cause feelings of suicide. And I thought, whoa, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, so, and all of this. And then to add insult to that, they gave her this other medicine that had serotonin or something for a mood to make her happy. It was like happy pills. And I thought, okay, so they've given her this for her nerves and her body, and then they've said, and if you feel all of these symptoms, here's some happy pills. Is that not insane? So in all of that, each medicine does something else and something else and something else. So if you're taking medicine for, just say for instance, and this has been this is a pet peeve of mine. I mean, this a friend of mine is taking medicine for his high blood pressure. In the high blood pressure medicine, he also has got lymphedema. So his legs are like this big. And in the blood pressure medicine, on the little, when they give it to you from the pharmacy, they give you this page and tell you to read it. And on there it says that it may cause swelling. So in taking the blood pressure medicine, he's now with the lymphedema, now he's got excess swelling. That's insane to me. That's really insane. And so what we're talking about today is, you know, when you get medicine from the pharmacy and they give you all of those slips of paper, read the paper. Please, guys, read the paper. On the paper, it's going to tell you all the things that it can cause. It's going to tell you what it's going to help. And then right next to it, it's going to tell you all the things that it can do to you, how it could hurt you, what it can cause. It could cause drowsiness. It could cause nausea, vomiting. I was talking to a lady the other day that they prescribe Ritalin for, which is supposed to be for nausea and vomiting. And on the pages, it said may cause vomiting or nausea. You know, now think about the elderly that are out there that are not reading the pieces of paper. They're strictly trusting the doctor and saying, listen, you know, my doctor prescribed this for me and no, 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 no. Doctors are who they are. They are practitioners. They practice medicine, okay? When they tell you or give you a symptom, think about it. When you go into the doctor's office, and you go into the doctor's office, he'll say to you, you know, well, what are your symptoms? You know, what's going on with you? You run through all of these things. You tell him all these things going on with you. He says, okay, and he sits down. Now, they don't start, and maybe sometimes they do, but most of the time they'll say, okay, we're going to run a few tests. So they run a few tests. When they run these couple of tests, which are generic, I mean, just general tests that they run on everyone, they run these tests. And when they run these tests, the tests come back and they say, okay, I'm going to prescribe this for you. I'm going to prescribe that for you. I'm going to prescribe that for you. Now, I don't know about you, but how my body may react to medicine is one way. How another person's body may react is another way. So how can you prescribe to me a medicine that you feel is going to work for me that may not even agree with my body? Perfect example, you know, like I said, my friend takes high blood pressure medicine, and this high blood pressure medicine, it caused her to swell. So her body, her legs got big, her hands got big, she started to swell. Well, I don't know about you, but I think common sense tells me that if you start swelling, that's a lot of fluid around your heart. That is an issue. So when you go to the hospital for the swelling, you know, you also have the high blood pressure issue. Now you have a swelling issue, which causes you to use, what is that thing that they give you, the water pills, the Lasix. So now you're taking the Lasix, and they're taking the water off you, but they're also pulling the potassium out of your body. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Okay, so now, and I'm not telling you that doctors are not here for a good reason, because I believe that God definitely gave doctors. I believe that physicians have a place in the world. But what I do have a problem with is physicians giving and just saying, hey, you're going to die. You know, you're going to die tomorrow. That is not true. What physicians should say to patients is, listen, I've gone as far as I know. This is all that I know. And as far as all my medical knowledge, with me going to school, with me seeing all my experience, has led me to believe that this is as far as I can go. Now we need you need to do something else. I've gone as far as I can go. My limit is right here. This is as far as, my knowledge has taken me here, and this is it. Now we've got to either seek another specialist, or we've got to start praying, but don't just issue out those death sentences. That's just insane to me when somebody says, you know what, we've looked at everything, you're going to die. I mean, come on. Who can actually give that sentence? No one. So I'm saying to you, and we're getting ready to go to a commercial break, but you know, think about it. Go get your popcorn or your water. And I'm not on a roll today, but I'm feeling some kind of way about these death sentences that they give people. You know, go do what you got to do. Come on back. We're going to talk more about MedicAlert.
There is really only one boy. One girl. One tree. One forest. One deep, dancing ocean. One mountain calling, one handful of sand through our fingers, one endless sky overhead, and one simple way to care for it all. Please visit earthshare.org and learn how the world's leading environmental groups are working together under one name, EarthShare, one environment, one simple way to care for it.
I'm back. Now listen. If you just missed the first half, I'm talking MedicAlert. I'm talking about being aware of what type of medicines that you're taking and using some common sense. I am not saying that doctors do not have a place in the world. That I'm not saying. But what I am saying to you viewers is that exercise some common sense. If the doctor prescribes a medicine to you and you see your body reacting to it in a way that it shouldn't, you should immediately call the doctor and say, listen, my body is not reacting. And when I say reacting, I mean with swelling, dizziness, anything that causes you to act differently from the way you were before you started taking the medicine, that means that the medicine is too strong for you. If you look on the back or on some medicines and they have these little warnings and it say may cause dizziness, may cause drowsiness, do not operate machinery, da 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 da. Those things are, they make sense, and they're telling you do not operate machinery because it will cause, dizziness or drowsiness. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of uncomfortable with not being me. If I'm going to take something, I don't want to take it and have to go to sleep or be careful about walking and all that kind of stuff. But now then, I guess it depends on how serious the situation is. So I'm not saying that they don't have a place. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that they're practitioners, they practice medicine, and that the information that they derive from you helps them to make a accurate or some type of decision on what way that they should go with you as far as treating you for your medical issue. Now, again, I could come in the hospital with the same symptoms that you come in with, and it could be a totally different, diagnosis. And it should be, because we're two different individuals. We're not general. I had a friend that used to go to the hospital all the time. And when I went to her house, she had like 50, vials of medicine. I mean, with 50 bottles of medicine, I don't know about you, that's crazy. 50, even if you're taking 10 bottles of medication, that's a lot of medication to take. And if you start to look at the paperwork and see where one causes one thing and one causes another, those are concerns. Those are concerns enough to call your doctor and say, listen, you know what? I'm taking this for nausea, but on the paperwork it says that this medication can cause nausea or cause vomiting. So, maybe I need to take something else. Maybe we need to rethink this thing, look it over again. Can I come in and get another a physical or some more tests done? Because this is going to work against what we're actually trying to fight. And it is. If I'm going in for vomiting and nausea and just say, what is it, Reglan? And I'm going in for that, but that also causes that. I mean, come on now, what are we talking about here? You're giving me something that could cause that, but that's something that's going to cure it? I mean, think about it. So I am not saying that, go and throw out all your medicine and all that. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that doctors are overworked. If you have a physician that takes some time and actually talks to you and explains things to you, then you've got a great physician. But most of them that I've seen in the past, they come in for 2 or 3 minutes, they don't even see you. Let me give you a story. There was a doctor, and I got this from a nurse. It was just amazing to me. The doctor came in because they have very little time to see a patient. This doctor came in, put the stethoscope on the patient, and walked out in the hall and started writing, what the nurse should do. And so the nurse looked at him and she said, what are you writing? And he says, well, I'm writing a prescription for the patient. She said, he's dead. And he looks at the nurse and says, why didn't someone tell me? What is wrong with that story? Now, if he went in, put the stethoscope on the guy, came back out, and didn't realize that the guy was dead, that means that they are definitely they're working a lot. They're seeing patients like this. I got a chance to sit in the hospital with my daughter for a few days. I just kind of spent the night there. And I got a chance to see these guys in action. They come in, you know what I'm saying? They have all of 2 minutes, and everything that's happening with you needs to be discussed within 2 minutes, whether they have a diagnosis or not, or whether they want to do, They either say, we're going to do some tests, or they raise the sheet up and look and say, okay, it looks fine to me, and keep it going. Now, again, like I said, how my body may react to medicine may be different from yours. What I am saying is this to you, viewers, is this. If your insurance is paying for a doctor, if you're paying out of your pocket for a doctor, they need to take some time and actually find out what is wrong with you. Not across the board, like this is a symptom for so and so. I had a doctor tell me one time there's no what do you say, no disease unknown to man. And I thought, every disease that comes up, it's always something new coming up. So what do you mean there's no disease known to man? That's a crazy thing to say. So often doctors, sometimes, and not all of them, because I've seen some great doctors, and I've also seen some doctors that act as if they are God. And when you tell them something, they look at you, like, I'm the doctor, you're the patient. Do not be intimidated by that. They are just someone that went to school for something specific. You went to school for what you went to school, whether it's mechanics, whether it's education, whether it's theology, whatever you went to school, that's what you went to school for, and that's what they went to school for. So they don't know any more than you. They've just gone to school. Yes, they have some knowledge of medicine, but they still have to ask you what is happening with you to form some type of opinion or some type of diagnosis. So do not, and I'm talking to the elderly, I'm talking to the young. Oftentimes we go into the doctor's office and they intimidate us. So they just, well, what's the problem? And they act with this very, condescending type attitude. And so we begin to immediately feel like they're the doctor and they know what's best. No, they're just people. They're just people that have problems just like all of us do. Some of them have wives that have left them. Some of them are on drugs. Some of them are, having some other difficulties. I mean, they are just people. They are not anyone. They're not superheroes. They're just people. So a lot of times when they come in with some issues themselves, and sometimes they haven't quite figured it out, and you just happen to be the one that sees them, and they may skirt past you kind of fast. Do not let their personal feelings interfere with what it is that you need to know from them to keep yourself well. All I'm saying is that, again, do not misunderstand me. There is a place for them. What my point is to you is that you have the right to ask questions. You have the right to get answers. And if your doctor is not giving you the answers or doing what they need to do for you, then you need to change doctors. That's what I'm saying. If your doctor does not have the time to answer your questions, and you may be repetitive, you may ask the same question more than once because you don't absorb and you don't retain that kind of information as they do. They retain it differently because they've done it over and over and over again. You're just hearing about it for the first time. So yeah, you may have to hear it more than once, more than twice, maybe 3 times. Do not feel embarrassed or ashamed because you don't understand what the doctor is relaying to you at that time. So again, I say, they are just people. That's all they are, just people. Regular people with regular problems have gone to school for something different than what you've gone to school for. Only difference. My PhD is in theology. Their PhD is in medical. His PhD is in education. What's the big deal? We all had to go to school. We all had to buckle down and do a thesis. We all had to buckle down and do a dissertation. So what? It doesn't make me any smarter than the person that went to high school. It doesn't make me any smarter than the person that dropped out. We can still learn from each other. And doctors have to learn from you what it is that they need to know to make diagnosis. Listen, we have to go to station break. Come on back. We'll talk again about MedicAlert and how you can protect yourself from getting sicker.
It is about balancing our choices between the gray of the concrete jungle and the stunning beauty of the real one. Between a stoic facade of granite and the fury of the canyon. Between deafness and the presence of breathtaking music. Between blindness and blinding beauty. It's why there's EarthShare, the simple way to find balance. EarthShare is the workplace giving program bringing the leading environmental groups under one umbrella. Support EarthShare, support them all. EarthShare. Please ask your employer about workplace giving. To learn more, please visit our website.
I'm Rick the Critic, and I'm back. Listen, so we talked about MedicAlert, and I hope that you got a clear understanding. If you left or you're just joining in, we're talking about having a rapport or relationship with your doctor and letting your doctor know what your concerns are and exactly what's happening in your body. They have no way of knowing unless you relay it to them. And sometimes we can get a little lengthy with it. Sometimes we can get, I took my daughter to see a doctor, and she was actually, like almost, like, could you hurry up? Could you hurry it up? And I thought, wow, what, just because you have gone to school does not mean that you should, that's just inappropriate behavior. There shouldn't be a time that your doctor should be uncomfortable or feel like you are bugging them because you're asking them for information. I've run across some good doctors. I've run across some bad doctors, and probably more bad than good. But there are some great doctors out there that have some wonderful, wonderful bedside manners, and not to mention have some wonderful, wonderful outlooks on medicine, and actually when they're talking to you, their attitude is appropriate. It's not inappropriate behavior. I used to volunteer at Loma Linda, and I'm telling you, I have them come up to the desk and I'm a doctor, and the first thing I'd say is, I'm a volunteer. What does that mean to me? You can't fire me. I'm a volunteer. So you being a doctor, what does that mean? So I think, again, like I said, I'm not saying that they don't have a place, but what I am saying is this, is that there's appropriate behavior and inappropriate behavior. And because you feel like you have to be repetitive when you're talking to your patients, you must be patient. Listen, let me tell you something. There was a time when there were very few doctors and people were treating themselves. They were doing very well with it. And now we have physicians, and we have, surgeons, and we have specialists and all these things, and it's a wonderful thing. But please, and I'm speaking to the doctors now, please do not get to a point in your life where you feel like you can talk down or talk to your patients in inappropriate behavior. It's just not a good thing. It's not a good feeling to walk away from a doctor feeling like, gosh, I wanted to ask them this, or I wanted to ask them that, and I couldn't because they were rushing me on. Or they felt like they didn't have the time to actually explain to them what they felt was important. I feel that in these days and times, there's doctors and physicians everywhere. There are doctors with alternative medicines. There are doctors that are strictly by the book. There are a lot of things going on out here. So what I am saying to you is that doctors do have a place. But yes, I just believe, and I feel like, because I've run across so many doctors that their behavior is so inappropriate, that when I see good doctors, it's just kind of like, I met a great doctor, and I just got to say this because she was just fantastic. Her name was Sylvia Shaw, and she's a doctor in Linwood. Wonderful, wonderful bedside manner, very, very, just listen to everything. I heard her talking to a patient, and she was just listening to that patient, and she was concerned, and you could tell and you could feel that in her conversation. She just, oh gosh, let me tell you, she was one doctor. Another one, Bloomfield, Dr. Bloomfield, a chiropractor that I met over in Inglewood. Wonderful, wonderful doctor. I've just met a lot of one. Got one right here, a wonderful chiropractor. What was her name? Erin Williams, Dr. Williams, right here in Altadena. wonderful. I mean, listen to you, very attentive, very, just a great bedside manner. And when you're coming into the doctor or a clinic or an office and you're in pain, listen, you want someone to hear and feel, they can't feel your pain, but you definitely want them to hear what you're saying. I've met, just run across a lot of bad ones, but what I am saying is, Dr. Sylvia Shaw, just keep up the good work. Dr. Bloomfield, keep up the good work. Dr. Williams, keep up the good work. There are a lot of great doctors out here, and if I could send all of you guys to those doctors, in fact, I think Dr. Shaw is an endocrinologist, so if you're in Linwood or you even in the area, I would drive out to her. If I had diabetes, I would drive to her. Dr. Blumfield, if I had a back problem, Dr. Williams, if I had a back problem, I'd drive out to them, because it's important when I leave there that I feel very comfortable with my doctor, and I know that my doctor is really listening to me. So I've had a great time with you guys today, and I hope that you're going to take something back and listen to what I said. And when you go back to your doctor, I'm not saying that you did, I'm not saying do that with your doctors, but what I am saying is that just make sure that your doctor hears you. And when you're talking to them, if you have to write the questions down, write the questions down, because they act as though they don't have a lot of time. So if and if they're one of those kind that just kind of rushes you in, pull out your piece of paper, pull your slip of paper out and say, listen, this is my concern, this is my concern, this is my concern, this is my concern, and let them address each one. Your insurance pays for this, and you pay for it too with your time. So do not be intimidated because they're a doctor. Again, I tell you, they're just people. Listen, I've had a wonderful time with you, and I hope to see you next week. And listen, love yourself, and don't forget, when you go to the doctor, just tell them what's wrong and listen for the feedback. And then, dialogue with your doctor, dialogue with them, and come to, medium ground where you know where you are and you feel better and feel secure about when you go back. Don't take anything that's going to make you all crazy and just say the doctor told you to take it. That's what the doctor's there for. He's there or she's there to help, and they're there to help you. I love you. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. I'm Rick the Critic.
Rick the critic, when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic. When she all up in your city, oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it, let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if she's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick the critic. Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick the critic, 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 Rick the critic. Rick the critic, when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic. When she all up in your city, oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it.